Hello students, welcome again to the virtual classroom of English. I am Dr. Ramabruto Chakraborty. Today's class is the continuation of our previous classes on the portrait of a lady. In our last class, we have seen the author decided to go abroad for higher studies. The grandmother was not upset. She came to leave him at the railway station. She did not show any emotion. She kissed her forehead silently. The author thought that it was the last sign of physical contact between them. And our today's lesson actually starts after this. I am starting today's lesson. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer, and with frivolous rebukes. In this section, we have come across some words which are to be discussed. The meaning of the word clasped here is to hold tightly. Then here in this very slide, we can see another phrase, frivolous rebukes. Now what does this particular phrase means, or what does the word frivolous actually mean? The word frivolous means not serious or light. Another word is there, rebukes. The word actually means scolding. Now, in this particular section, we see the author returned home after long 5 years, and his grandmother was at the railway station to receive him. Surprisingly, she did not look a day older. Even on the first day of his arrival, her happiest moments were with the sparrows, whom she fed longer. Next, in the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. Now in this section, we have a word drum. Now what does it mean? Drum means a musical instrument in the shape of a hollow cylinder at both ends with parchment. Now, parchment means the dried pale skin of some animals, which was used in the past for writing on or a paper made to look like this. Drums are usually played by striking with the hand or with one or two sticks. Now, this is the photograph of a drum. Now, another word, thumped. Now, thumped means beating with hands. To beat with hands means thumb. Sagging means hanging down. Dilapidated means falling to pieces. Then there is an excellent expression saying of the homecoming of warriors. Now, homecoming of warriors is nothing but something related to patriotism. So the song sung in relation to homecoming of warriors is nothing but the patriotic song. We had to persuade. Persuade here means convince. So in this section, what we actually see. In the evening, a change came over author's grandmother. She did not pray. She collected some lady of neighborhood, got an old drum and began singing for several hours. She sang the homecoming of the warriors. At last, all the family members had to convince the old lady to stop. Another interesting thing the author noticed that for the first time she forgot to pray. Now continuing the text, the next morning she was taken ill. It was a mild fever and the doctor told us that it would go. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life she had omitted to pray, she was not going to waste any more time talking to us. So, in the next morning, author's grandmother fell ill. She declared that her end was near, and so she didn't want to waste any more time talking to them. Continuing our text, we protested, but she ignored our protests. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face, and we knew that she was dead. We lifted her off the bed and, as is customary, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. So, here the author narrates that his grandmother lay peacefully in her bed, saying prayers and telling her beads. After this, her lips stopped moving, the rosary fell down from her lifeless fingers. She was dead. After this, she was laid on the ground and her body was covered with a red shroud. Now, in this section also, we have come across some words which are to be discussed, or the meanings of these words should be discussed. Now, one word is pallor. Pallor means fading of color, becoming lifeless. Then another word is there. This is called shroud. Now, shroud means the covering of the dead body. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. Now, what does the word cremated actually mean? The word cremated means disposal of a dead person's body by burning it to ashes, typically after a funeral ceremony. The word blaze means glow. Now, in this section, the author narrates that it was evening, the sun was setting. The family members of author brought a wooden stretcher. They stopped halfway in the courtyard. Thousands of sparrows sat near her dead body. The text continues. There was no chirruping. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs, the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. And here the narration actually ends. In the last section, we have seen that surprisingly the sparrows made no sound, no chirruping. Khushban's mother fetched some bread for them, broke it into little crumbs, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of it. When the dead body was carried away, the sparrows flew quietly. Next morning, the sweeper came and swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin, and here actually the narration ends. Our story ends. So, we are to recap the story again. The portrait of a lady is written in first person. Here Khushbant Singh gives a detailed account of his grandmother with whom he had a long association. The author recalls his grandmother as short, fat, and slightly bent. Her silver hair was scattered untidily on her wrinkled face. She hobbled around the house in white clothes with one hand resting on her waist and the other telling the beads of a rosary. The author remembers her as not very pretty but always beautiful. He compares her serene face to that of a winter landscape. During their long stay in the village, grandmother woke him up in the morning, plastered his wooden sled, prepared his breakfast, and escorted him to school. While he studied alphabets, she read the scriptures in the temple attached to the school. On their way back home, she fed stale chapatis to stray dogs. The turning point in their relationship came when they went to live in the city. Now the author went to a city school in a motor bus and studied English, law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, and many more things which she could not understand at all. Author's grandmother could no longer accompany him to school nor help him in his studies. She was upset that there was no teaching of God and scriptures at city school. Instead, he was given music lesson which, according to grandmother, was not meant for gentlefolk, but she said nothing. When Khushwant Singh went to a university, he was given a separate room. The common link of their friendship was snapped. Grandmother rarely talked to anyone now. She spent most of her time sitting beside her spinning wheel, reciting prayers, and feeding the sparrows in the afternoon. When the author left for abroad, grandmother did not get disturbed. Rather, she saw him off at the railway station. Seeing her old age, the narrator thought that it was his last meeting with her. But contrary to this thinking of the author, when he returned after a span of 5 years, grandmother was there to receive him. She celebrated the occasion by singing songs of the homecoming of warriors, means on the theme of patriotism, on an old dilapidated drum, along with the ladies of the neighborhood. Next morning she got ill. Although the doctor said it was a mild fever and would go away soon, she could foresee that her end was near. She did not want to waste time talking to anyone. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling the beads till her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. To mourn her death, thousands of sparrows flew in and sat scattered around her body. There was no chirruping, and when Khushban Singh's mother threw breadcrumbs to the sparrows, they took no notice of the bread. They flew away quietly when the dead body of grandmother was carried away for last rites. So, in this particular story, we have seen author's deep attachment to his grandmother and vice versa. So, this story is a study of relationship between a grandson and a grandmother. And this relationship actually paves the way for a universal relationship. The commonplaceness of the subject, the particular relationship between author's grandmother and author has been shifted to universal story of relationship between a grandson and grandmother. And herein actually rests the real charm of this particular story. So thank you.